Hey everyone, it's Logan. I'm making this video on how to Canva or a Canva 101 just because I feel like we've been using Canva more and more to create mockups and designs for the projects I've been on, but also the projects other people have been on in the group. So this is just kind of my crash course to Canva and you know, I've used it for a while. I have some decent experience with it and this is me just walking through the basics and yeah, hopefully part one of a video series. So, first off, when you land on the Canva homepage, this is like what you're really greeted with. You have your recent designs, you have a little tab with like your projects that you're going on, the brands you have, and then the external apps. I'm going to cover those more in detail in other videos. This is just more like the initial introduction and just getting the basic UI and tools on lock. So basically, let's just take a Instagram post, for example, the new format. Um, basically, well, here we go. With a 4 by 5, right? Initially, you start with a blank canvas. You can use a template and just kind of like build it from there. But ultimately, we're just going to build it from scratch for the sake of like teaching you guys as much as possible. First thing is you go into File, and there's going to be settings. You can have grids and rulers. I'm going to remove the rulers just because I don't like them. There's also guides that you can add in where there's a 3 by 3. You can customize each one, or there's just the preset ones. You can add them in, but ultimately I don't like using guides either just because they have like the auto snap regularly that I would rather use, so clear them up. Um, yeah, let's get rid of those. So basically, you start with this blank canvas. Let's just make a like mock-up flyer for say what is consulting, especially since it's coming up. But yeah, you're starting with this right off the bat. Let's just set up a color. You click on the background page, which is this, and you go into background color. Let's say, well, it's nice that Lexi already has the brand kits for Lex behavior and also like OCG's color palette. So let's start with this OCG green, right? Right off the bat, let's populate it with some text, which is right here. You go into text, add a text box, similar to PowerPoint, just what is consulting? Question mark. Now it's a bit too small. Let's increase the size of that. Boom. I like that. But actually, I lied, I don't. Let's change the font. Let's highlight all of this. Well, highlight all of this. Um, One of my favorite fonts on Canva, and of course, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Um, you can search up whatever you want. You can actually filter them up here with there's handwriting based ones. There's like more corporate ones, I guess. Display fonts, headings, all of these things, different families. I'm a big fan of one of them called Montserrat. So I'm just gonna hop over to Montserrat, use that. And I love it when it looks bold and italicized. I think it's like a cool look. So we're just gonna run with that for the sake of time. Um, Say you want to increase the font size, but it's looking a bit weird. So let's say you think this looks a bit weird. You maybe want to uppercase all of it. Well, now it takes up too much space. So let's go into spacing, and then you can actually increase the line spacing. As you can see, it's changing back there. Or you can just increase the letter spacing, which I love to mess with. So changing letter spacing, this is still a little too big, so I guess you can kind of like condense it or just bring down the text font. From there, I'm liking how this is spaced. I like the spacing in between them. It looks more compact in my mind. There's also alignment, your left, middle, and or your left, right, and center alignment. There's, of course, strike through and underline, as PowerPoint has as well. But for now, let's just say I'm liking this, but I actually like want to make it look cooler, right? So let's go into I'll move this for a second. Let's say I want it to look a little like cooler. Let's go into effects, right? In effects, there's a ton of different effects. There's like a shadow, lifting, hollowing it out, splicing, outlining, you name it. There's even like the TikTok glitch. Me personally, I'm gonna go with the shadow right now. And as you can see, it's kind of like there's that light shadow, but I feel like it's not enough yet, or like not offset enough. So from there, you can kind of push it back further or bring it in closer. I'm gonna, I think that looks good. right there. And you can even change the direction, right? It goes into full rotation. So let's say kind of like bottom right. I like it there. Perfect. You can even blur out the background, make it look more like like a faded background type of look. But for now, I'm just gonna keep the blur at 0. And you can even mess with the transparency and color. So if you want a red shadow, there you go. Gonna keep it to white just so it separates with the document. And from there, you can even change up the other effects or go to the bottom and curve it, which is one of my favorite features when it comes to like making a design look cooler. So, curving your design, you say, okay, well, this is awesome, but what if I want it to be like a little more, like a little less curved? From there, you can actually change the curve right here. So let's go 31. Boom. Nice. So that's adding in a text box and then actually using the effects and then changing up the font. From there, you can play with the animation if you have like a video or a story mockup for Instagram where you can actually make this thing, type out or send, shift in, anything you want, really. Love that one. But for now, we're just going to remove the animations. Next up, we're gonna add in a picture, right? So let's say the next thing you want to add in is like a cool little picture, some kind of graphic, any sort of like logo picture. Let's go into uploads for now, right? Um, as you can see, there's a ton of uploads that Lexi's already like added in the past. So for now, let's take a headshot. That's fun. My headshot. Boom. Right? Throw it in the middle, but eh, like this just looks weird. It's just kind of thrown there. So let's actually add in a frame. I'll show you how to do that now, where you go into Elements. From there, Elements has all these different usages where there's shapes you can add in, like all of these. There's lines, similar to what those in PowerPoint. There's also graphics and then an AI image generator, stickers that move. And then on top of that, they also have their own database of photos that you can kind of pull from. As for frames, let's throw in a circular frame since I've had the text kind of curved around it anyways. Um, so looking at this, you can see there's a circular frame now. Let's just go ahead and drag this into it, and then boom, it fits into the frame. So right now it's not aligned though. Let's double click on it, and then boom, you have the crop. So, you can either smart crop it and have them do it for you, or, you can just kind of like do it yourself. I'm just gonna align it like this. Boom, looking a lot better already, right? Have that up there. Now let's say we want this to conform a little again. As you guys remember, effects, go down, curve. You can have it curve perfectly around the image. So increase the size of the image, boom, boom. Not exactly curved the way I want, so, let's just go in, curve it a little more, and we are good. Nice. So that's looking good. It's a nice baseline, but let's say we want to add in some bottom text to kind of counteract the top. So from there, you can actually just go Control C, Control V, and then just copy and paste it. But it doesn't really quite fit on the bottom. So what you want to do is just go into effects. From there, just curve it in the opposite direction. So 54 goes to -54. Boom, right? From there, it snaps into place with the alignment tool. Love it. All right. So let's say we like how this is looking, but I want the bottom text to have a different effect. Same thing, go back to an effect. Let's give it that, actually not the TikTok glitch. Let's give it an echo. Now the echo is pretty cool. So let's amplify that effect and pull it in a different direction so it's a little more visible. Let's also change up the color so it's like an interesting green. Boom. There we go. Looking good already. Now, let's say we want to move this all. Similar to PowerPoint, you can hold Shift, click, or just drag and select all of them. From there, you can group it and just move the whole thing. Now that we have some space at the bottom, let's populate it with some other important info. So going back to the text box, let's add in a text box saying like, you know, date is going to be Wednesday, week 7. But, we don't like this auto caps anymore, so just turn it off. Wednesday, week 7. Next, time is at 5 to 6 p.m. and then 6 to 7 p.m. or 6 to 7:30 p.m. Sorry. There we go. Let's move that down for some visibility. There we go. Move it down for visibility. And where? It's going to be at the atrium. Now, this is obviously too big, so let's just simply decrease the size and then stretch it out a little bit so it's just one line. And boom. Now you have this, but we don't want it to be center aligned since we're going to be putting it in the bottom left corner. So from there, like I said, with the alignment tool right here, boom, there you go, left aligned. Next up, let's say this bottom right corner, we want like the OCG logo. Let's go and actually upload that. So you want to go into uploads. As you can see, there's all these things Lexi's already uploaded, but for the sake of learning, let's just do upload files. From there, you can have the OCG logos also located in the SharePoint, by the way. And from there, let's just use the white one. And there we go, it loaded in. So take that, shrink it a little bit so it fits, and add it to the bottom right there. Awesome. Oh, not awesome. Awesome. No. There we go. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So now that we have this, let's just say, okay, well, this is already coming together, but it's still looking a little bland. We wanted to take it to the next level of design. So after you populate with the general information, what is consulting? Oh, this needs to change. Let's say, come network. Boom. Now, as you can see, it kind of messed it up a little bit because it was grouped. So let's actually undo that. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Or you can just go up here, undo, redo, and then also, we'll talk about that later, but there is a editing, commenting, and viewing feature. But going back to the grouping, let's just highlight that, ungroup it, and then edit this guy. Double click, go, net, right? Boom. There we go. Now it's looking a little smaller than the top here, so let's just increase that spacing. Go back to spacing, letter spacing. Don't want it too stretched thin, but there. Looking better already. So here's what we got so far. Here's what we got so far. Next up, like I said, let's populate the background and make it look a little more dynamic. So how we're going to do that is let's just go and say, let's add in some graphics, make it look cool. So from there, you're going to go into elements. This is one of my favorite features of Canva because from here, graphics, there are so many that you can use. There's stickers, like I said at the beginning. There's so many different things you can add in, and you could really search up anything. Like business will give you these icons, or like, gradient will give you all these different things with different types of gradients that you can then customize. But for now, I'm going to use one of my favorites that I, just conveniently recently used, the waves. I really like these waves. They come up when you search wave. So sometimes you just get creative with what you put in for the search bar. Let's make that white and let's make it bigger because it's cool. And, I want this in the top right corner. So let's just rotate it around. Boom. Looking cooler already. However, it's pretty distracting. Right now, it's like, I can barely tell what the top title is saying because it's kind of like in the way and it's also like on top of my picture. I don't like that, right? So let's go into position. Position is super useful because from here, you can send it all the way to the back or you can bring it all the way to the front, right? So let's just put it in the back. Let's just put it in the back so it's behind the picture and behind the text, but it's still a little distracting, right? So side note, actually, let's cover the align to page, right? This is just like the align tool on PowerPoint where you can go, align to top, middle of the page, center of the page, left of the page, right of the page, right? But let's just take it back to that top right where it was at. let's say, it's still a little distracting. Let's just go into transparency, decrease it until it's like not really in the way as much. And, 50, no, boom, 43, 3. It's looking better already. It's not as in the way, but it adds like a certain level of layering to where, down here, it's just a plain green background. It doesn't look that great, but up here, just having like a graphic in the background helps so much with what like the design looks like. It adds like a certain level of layering. So, on that same note, let's throw in another graphic just for practice sake. Right here, these dots are pretty cool. Let's throw them in the bottom left corner. Let's expand them so they kind of like bleed into the rest of the picture. And, let's make them a nice white color that, is obviously too distracting when it kind of like covers up the date, time, and the wear. So let's just make sure that this is positioned at the very back. Boom. Still in the way. Let's decrease the transparency. Boom. Looks a lot better compared to before. Now, taking this up a step further, let's just say, you know, oh, it's a pretty cool, like, actually, let's say you have a white background here. Now you can't see anything. I really want this OCG logo to be visible, but I don't want to change the background because in some scenarios you just don't. So let's just throw in like a little element. Let's go back and then search up shapes. Of these shapes, I'm liking, let's find a nice rectangle. Okay. Rectangle shape. Nope. I can't spell. Okay. Rectangle. Boom. Found a nice rectangle. Let's make it OCG green. Or no, let's make it black. Take the black frame, put it here, send it to the back, and then we should be able to see the logo again. Actually, this is not okay. This is one of the problems with Canva. If you search up the element and it gives you this rectangle where you can't actually change the aspect ratio and it's just kind of locked like this, then in that case, just delete it, and then go back to the graphics homepage, landing page, and then just go into shapes. Shapes, all of these shapes you'll be able to like actually customize. So let's get like yeah, we'll keep the color. Put this back so you can see the logo. And now we just want it to like kind of like encapsulate the logo so we can actually see it. So to do that, let's just expand it here, and then make it like kind of like wrap around the logo. This is looking better already, but I don't like how rigid this rectangle is. It looks a little too like rough. From there, you can actually just, round out the corners right here. Make sure you clicked on the shape. You have corner rounding, round that out, make it like a nice pill shaped. And then even you can add in a border and control how like heavy the weight is. So add like a nice little border with like a nice Lex behavior light blue. Change this up to black. Boom. That's looking awesome. Now, change this background back to green for the sake of looks. Now it's looking pretty cool, right? We have like a little pill that attracts attention. We have our little date, time, and information. And then we have our main title and then our main picture and then some nice layering with the graphics. Now, let's say we want to take this like the next step. Actually, before we take it the next step further, let's go over these. So, draw is a pretty cool feature. It's very rarely used, but once in a while, let's say on this, you want to kind of like add some authenticity and throw in a signature. So let's just go boom, 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 right? Crappy signature, but ultimately we'll play with it. You can go here, well, click on the signature. You can even change the color. Let's put it white, and then even the size. So let's make sure it's not too intrusive. So pretty cool that you can draw on it. Not like a super useful feature that I've utilized, but you never know. So from there, you can, we're here. Let's go upload another logo just for like the sake of it. I'm liking Precipio has a cool logo, but you throw in a logo that's got this ugly white background, right? I'm sure you guys have all experienced this problem. Canva solves it pretty easily. Right here, you click on it, there's a background remover. You click on that, gets rid of the background. Isn't that cool, right? Now Precipio is just the logo and it blends in perfectly with that background green. Let's shrink it and put it as like a little sponsor at the top. Boom. This is looking a lot better already. I'm loving this graphic. I think it looks sick. Let's let's highlight these guys. Shift to unselect the graphics. Hello. Screw it. Shift, shift, shift. Group it together. Let's move it down a little bit. Awesome. This is looking pretty cool. Final touches. This is like pretty much a mock-up at this point. And I know it was a little long-winded. Hopefully you guys can put this into 2x speed and just watch the whole thing. But ultimately, this is the video. That was basically me building a graphic mock-up using like the most basic tools. I'll probably make a part two with more deep dive into like the actual connected apps, the AI-powered tools, and then also all the other stuff you can do with like website mock-ups. But as of right now, that's how you make a simple mock-up. And one final thing is, let's say this is looking cool, but there's a pretty cool way to apply a brand kit. So if you are working with a client that has a specific color palette or brand kit in mind, you can create that palette and, like Noah today. Noah made some cool OCG marketing materials. So let's apply those to ours. Shuffle through, shuffle through. Yeah, they look cool, but like shuffle, shuffle. This one looks sick. I love how this looks, right? It matches the Precipio green right here. And like overall, like I actually love how this looks compared to the green. Um, just kidding. I love OCG standard. I love OCG green for the record. But you can change up the brand kit with one click of button. It's pretty cool. And then from there, let's just say, this is looking great. Let's get it saved, right? You go into file, go into download right here. And then from here, you can actually select all the different types of saving formats. You can even save it into a PowerPoint. But for now, PNG is pretty cool because PNG actually gives you these three options. You can limit your file size if your laptop has horrible storage, and you can also compress it, which will lower the quality. But in my opinion, one of the coolest things is you can change the quality and the pixel density. So if you want a really bad quality one versus a really, 4K Ultra HD one, you have that option. But let's just go, regular. Coolest thing, my opinion, you can actually make the background transparent. So this beige, that first layer we were initially working with, this guy right here, you can literally change that to be completely transparent when you download it. It's pretty cool. And from there, like I've used it a lot of times. I don't know exactly how you use it for mockups, but you can make that background completely disappear in the download with that. But for now, we won't worry about that. And boom, you download it. From there, you're pretty much done. There's your mockup, and it's ready to present in a PowerPoint. So, if anybody has any questions, let me know. You guys have my email. My full name's Logan Adams if you guys want to look me up on the alumni contact sheet if anybody's watching this in the future. But yeah, I'll be making a second part of this video going in more detail. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I'd love to cover it in the next video. But hopefully this helps you guys out with mockups this week. So let's go OCG.